Guys, thanks for coming. It's a lot. We were just talking about how Roundup and things like this are such a gift to those who come. I hope you guys feel really served. It's a lot. It is so much. There's just so much to talk through, to work through, to process through. And if you retain 20% of it, I think that's a massive win, maybe even 10%, And so I just want to commend y'all that I'm glad y'all are here. It's 3:00. You could have took the session off. You're here. You're pushing through. Thank y'all for being here. So my name's Cody. This breakout group is titled, it's got really bad handwriting, so this is going to be a long 50 minutes or whatever. Developing or starting, growing, strengthening a student leadership pipeline. Student leadership pipeline. So a little bit about me. I am from Denton. I grew up in the backyard of UNT, and I only applied to 2 schools, Tech and UNT, and I went to Tech because I toured UNT, and if you've ever done that, you understand exactly what I mean. I was like, this place looks like a prison, and that's because it is. Anyways, so went to Tech in 2014 as a freshman. My first Sunday as a college student, the then college director is a guy named Rashard Barnes, who's a pastor out in North Carolina now, put his arm around me and said, "Hey, we're gonna hang out." And I said, "No, we're not." And I didn't talk to him for 6 months, even though he tried to hit me up. There's a lot of threads through there. But I have been at Redeemer. I've only been to one other church in my entire 11 years nearly in Lubbock. And so I'm grateful for that church. I serve as the college ministry director. Did not come to faith there, but grew in my faith exponentially, was baptized there. I mean, God has done more in that church than probably any other place combined that will ever happen in my entire life. And so now I'm the college director, which is super, super fun. We primarily serve 2 campuses, Texas Tech University and Lubbock Christian University. Lubbock Christian has about 1,500 students. Tech has 40,000. So it's funny because there's actually quite a big LCU population at our church, which I think is wild because I'm like, there's only so many of you in the city. But anyways, so today we're going to be talking about how to create, develop, strengthen, everything in between your current student leadership pipeline or your future student leadership pipeline. Some of y'all, you're like, pipeline, what's a pipeline? That's great. You are in the right place, whether you have a elaborate system of sending, as you see there, please. The back is very confusing. I'll explain all that. That's like a TLDR of our own pipeline. Whether you have something like that, or you're just like, what's a pipeline? This hopefully is going to be really helpful for you. The things that we're going to talk about hopefully scale to wherever you and your ministry are at. And so I want this to be practical, helpful, collaborative, all that good stuff. So we're going to define some terms. I'm going to share about what this looks like in our context, and then give y'all the space to just think and consider what this could look like in yours. In no way am I going to prescribe anything to y'all at all. All your ministries are different. You're coming from all over Texas and the state or whatever, and your ministries aren't our ministry, but hopefully it's going to be helpful to take a look. And so I attached I feel like I have to say this on the front end, our QR code to our Instagram right there, not because we want followers, though we will take them. You know what I'm saying? We will take them. But the things that we talk about in the pipeline, they are reflected on our social media. Our students see these things. We talk about these things. These are not ethereal ideas that hide behind the staff curtain. You know what I'm saying? These are things that our students could likely articulate because it's a part of our DNA. Does that make sense? So I'll maybe highlight a few of those as we go. And so, so really, what we're going to talk about today is super scalable, hopefully. The thing that I want to begin with, though, is Scripture. I think that's a wonderful place to start. And so one thing that I know for sure, there's probably, if you give me 100 different churches, you're going to give me 100 different leadership development plans, freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors. You're going to have all these different ways of sending, of discipling, of empowering them to go to campus. But at the end of the day, we are all called to do the same thing, and that is rooted in Ephesians 4, verses 11 through 13, and that is to equip the saints for the work of ministry, not to do all the work of ministry ourselves. You following? Just because you're a minister doesn't mean you hold the keys to the ministry. And so that is a theme that we're going to tease out. But could somebody read Ephesians 4, 11 through 13? It's at the top of your handout.
He gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the shepherds, and the teachers to equip the saints for the work of the ministry, for building up the body of Christ until we all attain the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, to mature manhood, the measure of the stature and the fullness of Christ.
Yeah. Our job is to equip the saints for the work of ministry. Our job is to create systems and pipelines, if you call them whatever you want. Our job is to create the trellis of ministry to let our students grow. and to do the work of ministry. Y'all following? That is such an important shift. Like, it's not on you. It's not on us to be the only ones to actually do the ministry. Our job is to equip these college-aged saints in our ministry to do the work of ministry, not to just do it all ourselves. We say this all the time to our student leaders, that this is their ministry. This is their ministry. So I'll look at our leadership team and, I'll look at our leadership team and tell them, like, this is not about us. This is not about our staff. This is not about a brand. This is not about RCM. This is not about whatever. This is about you being faithful to leverage your influence in the lives of those around you. Because if you do it now, when it's hard and when it's awkward, you're likely going to do it in the next season of your life. And then when you do it there, you're going to build these muscles of faith that are going to last a lifetime. And that's what we want to be about. We don't want to just spoon feed them youth group 2.0 type stuff, but there's nothing wrong with that. We want to equip the saints for the work of ministry so that they would do the work in college and that they would build these muscles that will last a lifetime. Y'all following? Okay, good. I'm probably going to ask that a lot because I'm hella insecure and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and everyone's tired, including me. So a principle that we'll talk about a lot is student-led, staff-supported. That's the first thing on your handout. Student-led, staff-supported. I remember somebody told me this, well, it was actually the then college director told me that, hey, our ministry is about being student-led, staff-supported as an 18-year-old. And I'm like, dude, who freaking cares? I don't even know what you're talking about. But I share that to say, like, I'm a freshman being told, hey, our ministry is student-led, staff-supported. As a freshman, as an 18-year-old, like this idea of getting this vision in front of like our students of like what God could do in their lives was started, even though it meant nothing for me as an 18-year-old. And so that's something that we're going to try to filter everything that we talk about today through this lens of being student-led, staff-supported, student-led, staff-supported. And so when we say student leadership pipeline, there's two sort of terms that we can break down. Student leadership team is a committed group of students who have been vetted, key word there, vetted for the work of ministry within a particular context. Obviously, that context for us is Texas Tech University primarily. Pipeline is a framework for recruitment, development, discipleship, and sending purposes. Recruitment, development, discipleship, and sending purposes. And so something that I'll just make a quick note on, because this could be probably an entire different session, is that second QR code is like our leadership documents. And so we have a rotating, every year we do leadership renewals where we'll essentially like look at our leadership team, have them fill out like a questionnaire, like, hey, how was the semester? What are you doing next semester? What are you thinking? What are your post-grad plans? Blah, 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 all these different things. We have questions, we have leadership applications. So like if you think about having a leadership team and you want to grow it, how do you like, what do they do? How do you get, how do you like see where they're at? And so everything that we use is in that document. You can make copies of it, you can send it, you can share it. Go nuts. If you just look at it with no context, you'll be like, this is a lot. It is a lot, but hopefully one day it'll be really helpful. So, student leadership pipeline. And so, really a lot of like what we're going to be talking about that's sort of underneath the surface of the student leadership pipeline is a leadership team. Okay. So who in here runs a ministry or it's a part of a ministry that has a leadership team? Like you're a leader, you're not. Okay, so most of us, okay, yeah. So what this idea of a student leadership team, like it's so important. I was talking to a friend who's a part of another ministry in town. We were at a coffee shop and he was like, hey dude, like we know y'all do a leadership team. We're kind of trying it, but it hasn't really worked out too much. We're, and gave all these, different reasons for why it's not really working out. And he was saying it's like flopping. And he was essentially communicating that they were considering not having one. And I gently said that you should do that. You should not cut your leadership team. But I was trying to communicate to him through our conversations, like it is really hard to develop this like strong sense of like what is a leadership team and where do they fit in your ministry. But it is so worth it. For me and for our ministry, obviously I'm influenced by having one. It's a non-negotiable. Like in my mind, like some sort of like, I'm giving you responsibility to do the work of ministry is non-negotiable. Like I think if we think about growing and developing our students, calling them to something more and deeper, non-negotiable. And I think that a leadership team is a really good opportunity for that. So Stephen Covey, he's the author of the classic book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He tells, I think it's the second point, to begin with the end in mind. So begin with the end in mind. So when we talk about pipelines, we're about to do an activity where you're going to begin with the end in mind. So when you think about the students that leave your ministry, there's really 2 perspectives to have. One is, okay, see you later, and then just look at who's coming next, right? Just kind of like, good luck, go soar and don't do drugs and, all that stuff. Hope things work out for you. Or there's the alternative that is, hey, we want to help propel you into what's next, okay? And we want to not only just say, hey, here's some cool things that you could do post-grad, but like, who are you becoming? Like, what kind of person are you becoming? Even though you just graduated college and you're not a full-blown grown-up yet. Well, I guess you are when you graduate, but you're not like a grown man or a grown woman yet. But like, who are you on track to become? Like, think about that. Like, beginning with the end in mind. And so the thing that I want you guys to do is, like, some of y'all have like vision statements or mission statements for your church, but do you have vision statements or mission statements for your ministry? Like, does anybody have that for their college ministry or BSM, or wherever that they're a part of? Like, does your sub-ministry of your church have a vision statement? Okay, great. So let's start there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to write those things down. Take just a second, write those things down, get it really, really clear, simplify it, and then we'll kind of come back together and share in just a second. So write down vision statement for your students. Does anybody not have one of those? Okay, great, my guy. So for us, ours is Redeemer College Ministry exists to partner with God to produce lifelong, faithful followers of Jesus. Everything we do is out of that. So things like that. Okay, we'll take just a second and then we'll come back. Just another minute or so. Y'all can talk, by the way. This is not, I would actually prefer it to be not super quiet because this is a little bit uncomfortable.
You wanted us to write down?
Yeah, just write them down for now. We'll share in just a second. All right. I love that the volume spiked a little bit. I'd like that to stay the rest of the time if we can do it. Okay, so Highland folks, I know y'all are in here. What's y'all's vision statement for your college ministry?
Right now it's Acts 6:4, so devoted prayer to ministry of the word.
Yeah.
Prayer, the word, ministry of the word.
Like, is that written down somewhere?
Yeah, it's kind of all over everything.
Okay, so it's like actually like, okay, yeah, great, yeah. Yeah. There's probably 150 in here. So you can,
150.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, who else? Let's share some.
We are together, see college students come together with joy, praise, and new life. Coming from Acts 2:4-6.
Let's go.
46-47.
Okay, what ministry are you with?
Reading Church.
Reading Church. Okay, where's that at?
In Waco.
Waco, got it. Awesome. Okay, a couple more.
Got Baylor BSM. We've shortened it to Equip Waco, Engage the World. Let's equip Waco to know God and make Him known.
Yep.
Engage the world in every nation, tribe, people, language, from Jerusalem to Samaria to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, great. Love it. One more. Maybe you came up with one right now and you're like, it's kind of fire and you want to share it, and you can do that too.
Ours in our college ministry at Holly.
Go, Jill. So we have an alarm. We were talking last week. We have an alarm that goes off every day at 3:20 where we pray that God would do far more. That's our shirts. It's kind of like our thing. Not our thing. That sounded weird, but like we do it in our ministry. And so I'm going to pray real quick. Y'all cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for everyone in this room, for everyone at Roundup. God, you are doing incredible things, God. And I just pray not only for us in our ministry, but that God, you would do far more from this moment. God, you know the significance of Roundup last year for our team and what you birthed out of this conference. And so, God, I pray that and more for us and for everyone here, God, that you would just, according to your power at work, for your glory and for the joy of your people, that you would continue to do far more in the lives of all of these ministries reflected in this room and in this building, and they're serving faithfully all over the globe. So, yeah, Lord, we just ask that you do that for your glory and for our joy. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So sorry about that. Please continue.
Our vision is to help others grow deeper in their relationship with Jesus by building meaningful relationships with them and encouraging them to actively live out their faith.
Yeah, so y'all got a little bit of a vision and mission statement. Those are two different things, by the way, for y'all. But yeah, you've got, hey, we wanted to do this, and here's how we're going to do it, which is, I mean, a flawless segue to what we're going to do next. But so vision statement, yeah, of course, yeah. So vision statement's like, where do you want to go? Like, what is like the vision for your ministry? And mission statement, in a lot of ways, is how you plan to get there, like how you're actually going to get there. And I think a pipeline is a really, really, really good way and place to start when you start talking about, hey, how are we actually going to do these things? And so, so we're going to build out a pipeline. So there's you can obviously see our kind of, that's not like a formalized one. That's like how I distilled it down for this teaching. But you've got pipeline, obviously you've got freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. The pipeline exists in the context of the normative 4-year college pattern. We have people who stay a lot longer than that. We have people who are like super tryhards who come in with like 80 hours and they just finish in like a year. But for the most part, you have got these 4 different sort of movements and phases. And so for us, beginning with the end in mind, we kind of shared this in our collaborative breakout, and you'll see this in your handout at the very end of sent out. So like for us, we don't just have a vision for producing all in faithful followers of Jesus and all that stuff from our vision statement. Like we actually have like teeth to it that just goes, oh, that sounds really nice, but like what does that mean? And so for us, our 3 categories of sending for our seniors are all in church member. That's like you graduate, that is not an N, but you graduate and you're like, let's say you're taking an accounting job in Dallas. Great, love it. Do that. Be committed. Like, don't fart around finding a church. Like, find a church. If you don't have one, we will tell you where to go. Like, be all in. Don't do the like hop around thing that most people do. Like, don't lose yourself in the shuffle, but like be committed. And because of what you've done in our ministry, just copy and paste that and run and keep growing. And so that's category number 1. Most of our students fall into that. Then we have the church planning pipeline, where we at our church, we plant churches. And one of the things that we're putting before our students is the like, hey, would you move with a church plant? Like, would you either take a job as a accountant and not just move down to your parents' street in Plano or wherever you're from, but like do it where there's a new church plant happening. Like we just planted in Austin and we planted in Tucson last year. So we were putting before our students, would you move to Austin? Would you move to Tucson, Arizona? Would you consider taking your job that you can take anywhere where it would be most strategic? So that's another opportunity. We have the like non-staff position, then we have staff position. So if students want to be a part of a church plant, whether it's serve in whatever way, we have a 2-year ministry residency program that they can do after they graduate. They got to raise $100,000, do it for 2 years. It's awesome. That's what I did. And so now here we are. And so then the other one is cross-cultural goer. Lots of little letters. And so for us, we also send a bunch of students overseas. And so that is an opportunity for our students to be sent out from Redeemer to be a missionary somewhere in the world. Does that make sense? So our vision statement, we want to produce lifelong faithful followers of Jesus. What does that look like? What are our categories when we sit down with our seniors at the end of our pipeline? Which one do you want to do? All in, church planning pipeline, cross-cultural goer. And the way that we frame it, it's a little bit intense, but we're kind of intense, is pick one or you're disobedient. Pick one or you're disobedient. Like if you have a category of just kind of farting around, you're being disobedient. Like you are not making the most use of your time, which I would articulate that is sinful. that we want to send you out of here ready to go with the next stage of life. Does that make sense? Okay, so beginning with the end in mind, have that vision for who you want your students to be. Give them then an opportunity. Like, don't just be like, oh, we have this beautiful vision statement. It's like, that means nothing to me. You know, it's like actually give them categories for what that could look like, or partner with people who do. Partner with people who do. Like for y'all, if you have no affiliation with, you know, let's say one of your students feels really called to serve in some like random place, and you're like, we have no idea who lives there. It's your job, like as the college director, to like figure out, like, hey, there may be something from there. How can you help your students step into that like next thing? So that is a rabbit trail that we're not going to chase. So begin with the end in mind. So again, these sending pathways, we call them sending pathways. They give some teeth and action to our vision statement, because having a pipeline is great, but if you do not have something that you're calling them into at the end of it, it's not really worth all that much. Does that make sense? Like if your pipeline is just how can you have the most dope 4 years of college, you're not setting them up for a lifetime of faith. Does that make sense? Like everything is connected to who you are hoping that your students would become, like as people, as husbands, as fathers, as moms. Like who are you trying to get your students to become at a like soul level? That's your vision. And so then how can you create handles to get them there? And then how can you do everything you can over the course of these 4 years to point them in that direction, knowing that we trust God with them? Does that make sense? Good? It's 3 o'clock. We're vibing? We're good? Okay, great. I'm just going to trust. Good trust. Okay, so for us, when we talk about a pipeline, we have 3 different positions that you can apply for on our leadership team. So we have context leader, we have GC leader, and we have senior team. Super simple. We used to have like 100. Turns out that's not helpful to have 35,000 different positions that you can serve on. And so for us, context leader is, think of like a supporting group leader. So our like ministry flows, if you will, are we are deeply connected to our local church. Sunday mornings. We require our students to come on Sunday mornings. And so this is chaos, but Sunday mornings, that's an expectation for our leaders. Another expectation, like a weekly rhythm, is our college gathering service, which is our Tuesday service. That's just for college students, weekly service. And then we have GCs, gospel communities. That is a weekly Bible study led by students that meets in adults' homes. Okay? And then we have grow groups, which are like, lots of C's, lots of G's. That's like think discipleship group, where like if you're a leader, you are assigned to a older person in our church to like meet up with you, read the Bible, think discipleship groups. Like they're like 2 to 4. Cool. So for our context leader position, context leaders help lead those GCs. They're not the primary leaders. They're the supporting leaders. Does that make sense? So like a context leader is like if you have a budding freshman who wants to serve and you're like, great, you're 18 and you were in youth group 6 months ago, love it. We are not going to let you lead a group because you were in high school 6 months ago. And so a context leader position is a great opportunity where they're in, it's their responsibility to show up. They help lead in some senses. They ask some kind of questions, but it's more of a supporting role. GC leader would be more of your like second semester sophomores through like seniors, where it's like it's their responsibility to lead the group, facilitate discussion. We provide them with GC curriculum, so we write questions for them, things like that, where they're the ones leading, delegating, things like that. And then senior team, this is people who have served. It's a position only for seniors on the pipeline, that are for people who've served really for a long time in our ministry, where they're like, one of our prerequisites for senior team is that they would be discerning a call to ministry. So like they would say, hey, I think God may be calling me to some kind of ministry, whether that's sending overseas, whether that's domestically, they don't know. That position is a discerning position. So for us, within these 3 positions, there's an opportunity for literally everyone to serve. Does that make sense? There's an opportunity. Yeah, I was about to pause for questions. That's great. What you got, bro?
How many of them in your ministry are on each one of these 3?
It's about 10, 40, 40. No, 10, 40, 50. Yeah, 10, 40, 50. Yeah, I would say this. 10, 40, 50. Something like that. Some kind of spread there.
Are you only one?
One what? What do you mean?
Like, can you be on senior?
Oh, yes. You're one position. You have a clear, and again, part of that QR code that you can scan are guys, I told you we're kind of intense. We write down all the expectations, like time requirements that we are asking our students based on their position, and we make them sign it. We're like, you said you'd do this. So when they don't, we go, you said you'd do this. So yeah, you can be one. I was about to pause for questions, so this is a great time to kind of stop. What questions do we got? We're sort of back building the pipeline.
Did you inherit that?
Yes, a lot of it. Senior team kind of was rebirthed, I would say, this past year. We've had GCs for years and context leaders for years. But like I said, we've tried a whole bunch of stuff. We have found simplicity is like worth its weight in gold of keeping it really simple. Group leader, supporting group leader, senior team.
What does the application and vetting process look like for the CLs and the CGs?
It's the exact same. They have to apply on their front end of their leadership, and if they step down from leadership for a semester, they have to reapply. And so it's not like you can just show back up and be like, "What's up?" It's like, we don't know what you're doing for 6 months. You could be, never mind. You could be doing a lot of things at Texas Tech. Let me tell you that much. And so, yeah.
Is that an application?
That application is in that. You can scan that and you can see. I mean, we asked them everything you could possibly think to ask. Everything. When's the last time you watched porn? When's this? Like everything under the sun is in that application. What you got?
With your GCs, as the GCs leaders are required to be part of a grow group.
Yep.
What's the time commitment for a GC on the average?
GC is like 2 hours a week.
Okay. And that's
2 hours.
including the grow group or just their?
No, GC is 2 hours.
2 hours.
So college gathering, 2 hours. GC, 2 hours. Grow group, it's at minimum every 2 weeks, and it's normally like an hour. I think so for our students who like want to join our leadership team, a lot of times they're already going to college gathering. They're already coming on Sundays. They're already going to a GC. And so the only thing that we like add to their plate, again, this is through trial and error, is the most life-giving thing about their college experience is an adult pouring into their life. Does that make sense? And so we'll get to this in a second with our own leadership philosophies, but it would be like life-giving. Like that leadership would be a blessing, that we're not just freaking grinding them into the ground, for the sake of Jesus.
And you might be talking about this in a second, but what does the staff-supported element look like with these leaders?
Creating all these like pathways, like the reviews, the almost the opportunities to be faithful. So it's like for them, we have found, and there's a lot of people who do this and who've had success. We have had absolutely zero success with this, of like empowering students to be like your outreach students. Hey, you're the people who need to go to campus. You're the ones who need to think about all these ideas and how to reach campus and da-da-da-da. Like it's a good idea of empowering students. But have you met a student? It's like, have you met a student like, hey, can you come up with like a legitimate plan to reach your campus? They're like, I have a final tomorrow. They're like, I'm not freaking doing that. You know what I mean? And so like for us, the student-led, staff-supported is like, think of like trellis and vine. Yeah. We're creating the trellis. We're creating this trellis that's aimed at these three things. So all they have to do is show up to like a lot of stuff. Does that make sense? Where it's like show up, be faithful, engage in outreach, do the different things. And so.
Side question.
Yeah.
How much investment is your staff having in these leaderships?
We lead grow groups. We all lead a grow group. It's a requirement for us to lead at least a freshman grow group and then typically a upperclassman grow group. So I lead a grow group, discipleship group of young freshman boys and then some like senior dudes. Yeah.
And is somebody meeting up regularly? I mean, with every single person who's on leadership?
Every single leader is in a discipleship group. That's like a requirement that we have for them. Yeah. So.
You said a discipleship group is an adult with 2 students? Or
2 to 4, yeah. Think just normal like discipleship group. That's all it is. And no, go ahead. You're good.
Like monthly check-ins with the leaders.
Yep. We have. So that's what we use. We use our staff and our senior team. Because you say, hey, you're considering ministry. It's like, okay, hit up your classmates and ask how they're doing for real. Stuff like that. And honestly, because it's just a lot of students, we can't do it all. So we have to ask them. But again, that's in writing for them. So they know they're going to do it. Any other questions?
Is there an aspect of like I think of like at your college gatherings, there's like worship, I assume? Like, is that leadership?
Okay. Some of it is. We have our whole like worship team, and so we have a college-specific worship person who leads and like recruits within their own sort of like world to like serve in that way. Yeah. The only thing that they serve on is we have our GCs that rotate serving each week. So like we have a week, because we have the week of gathering, we have parking team. It's like the funnest part of our ministry, where it's literally just people in the parking lot like going crazy. It's kind of like Pine Cove, and you know them Pine Cove. It's like the Gauntlet. It's literally the exact same thing. Anyways, but it's they rotate each. So like once a month, their GC will serve in a position like parking lot and stuff like that. And we have a prayer team too that students can sign up for. That's the best part of our ministry is our weekly prayer team, for sure. I can tell you more about that in a minute if you want. But any other questions before we keep going? We're going to have time to have you guys think about this in your own ministry. So if you have other questions, you can save them or ask whatever. But please keep asking. I think we're done here when? 4:15. Whoa. Okay. We're probably not going to use all this much time. So we're going to have a lot of time to talk. So for us, you're probably sensing that leadership team is important for us. In our context, I think it should be important for your context. But we know that leadership's not for everyone. Leadership is not for everyone. And that's why we have an application process. In our ministry, it's not only leaders. And so I used to hate what I'm about to say, which is actually hilarious. But we have a ratio that we've been developing of leaders to non-leaders that has kind of been growing over the course of, do what? 4. Okay. I was like, that's a long time to talk. So for us, we have a ratio of so if we have we have a ratio range of about 1 to 4 or 1 to 6. So for every one leader, there's 4 students, not regular students, but you guys understand, just non-leader students. And so we've found that if it's too low, if y'all know Salt Network, they shared this. This is a really good resource that they talk about. If you're 1 to 4, you're likely too heavy on discipleship. Which you think can't be too heavy on discipleship? Yes, you can. You can turn inward so fast and forget about the fact that you're right across the street from 30,000 students who don't know Jesus. You just can. You can become a Bible study. You say you're outreach, you're not. You're a big club Christian huddle. So if you're leadership team and you have nobody, if your ministry is only leadership team, let the hearer hear. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're you have 10 leaders and you have 1,000 students that come to your whatever, you aren't discipling them well at all. You're not creating systems and structures for them to receive and then to include others in. Does that make sense? So for us, we have found that the sweet spot is right around 1 to 4, 1 to 6. And so for us, that actually works out great because our weekly gathering is 400 to 500. And so our leadership team is about 100. And so what that means for us, again, it's not just numbers for numbers' sake, but for us, we have a initiative that we tell our leaders every single semester, who's your 3? Who's your 3? Who are the 3 people that you are pouring into? Because this is not on my notes, but this is a tangent. If you have a giant ministry and no one's known, who cares? Who cares? Giant for you. Giant for us is 2,000. Giant for you, maybe 100. If you have 100 people and no one knows 80 or 90% of them, we are missing it. We're absolutely missing it. And so when we have this bit, we'll talk in just a second about the leadership funnel. But if you have some big front door, you want your students to be able to know everyone who walks in. Does that make sense? And so if your leadership team is 10, and you just don't have the strength to actually do the work of ministry. Does that make sense? We curbed that. I was about to go off, but anyways, we're coming back. Okay. Man, I don't even know where I'm at with these notes. Already talked about the serving positions. Okay, leadership philosophy. Our leadership philosophy is think leadership philosophy is it's not really written down anywhere, but it's kind of the vibe, if you will. It's approachable. Somebody else who's smarter than me, who went to a better school than tech, replicatable. Is it replicatable? Is it replicable? Anybody know replicatable? Is that a word? Because every time I wrote it down, it was red underlined. And I'm like, what is happening? You know it? No? Okay, well, great. Reproducible. Let's go with that. That's not in my notes, but we'll go with that. I feel confident in that, the fact that is a word. Okay. Repeatable. Great. Perfect. So approachable, however the Lord leads you for that second word. And then the last one is fun. Fun. Guys, if you do college ministry, it has got to be fun. It has got to be fun. College is so much fun. If your ministry is boring, students just aren't going to show up. And I'm not saying it has to, I'm not talking attraction. If you walked into our church and building, you'd be like, this is a barn, and you just shut off the lights when the worship's on. Yeah, that's it. It's not whatever you might have in your mind when you get worried about churches and things being fun. But you're ministering to college students who are fun. And so make it fun. Please make it fun. Approachable, replicable, replicatable, whatever, and then fun. God, we got to keep moving. Okay. So approachable. What we mean by this is like we do these leadership applications every semester. It's really easy for students to start serving. Like if you get on our Instagram, you'll see if you scroll down one page, apply for leadership. It is everywhere. It's approachable. There's no mystery in how you serve on the Redeemer College Ministry leadership team. Really approachable. And then replicatable. God, I'm so insecure. Is like the fact that we invite them to include others in. So who's your 3? Who are you pouring into? Who are you encouraging to apply for leadership? Who are you bringing to college gathering, to GC, to Sundays? Does that make sense? Just naturally begins to happen. Then fun. We're going to talk about that. I think that the work of creating an attractive, healthy discipleship rhythm of a leadership team, like once you build the trellis, it's almost like what's that movie? If you build it, they will come. Angels in the Outfield, is that right?
No.
What is it? Angels in the Outfield. What am I saying? Field of Dreams, whatever. Okay, same idea, guys. Everybody chill out. But like, it's true. Like if you do the hard work of like, who asked about student-led staff support? What's the difference there? Which one was it? Was it you? If you do the work of like staff supporting, of creating this structure that students want to be at, and their friends are at, like it will grow. Like it really, really will. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Going to our pipeline finally. Okay, we have, it's funny, a few years ago, we would always call like the students on our pipeline Redeemer Ricky, because we're not super creative. And now we actually have a student named Ricky, which is hilarious. He's right here. He's the best. Ricky Arispe. And so Redeemer Ricky. So when you think about like the pipeline, okay, starting here, so Redeemer Ricky, he's going to start here as a freshman. So when you think about like actually doing the pipeline, there's leadership seasons. And so you have outreach events. Think about getting students to your ministry. Word 2, getting students to your ministry. And so every fall, every spring, we do, I'll write it down. Every fall and spring, we do this thing called Mission Trip to Campus. First week of school, we are trying our hardest basically to get kicked off campus because we're there all the time. Handing out stuff, doing things. Like we are going so hard on campus. Outreach, okay? So think like top of the funnel, getting students in. We'll get to what you do with that in a second. So heavy at the start of the semester, scattered outreach events. So what that looks like leading up to our first weekly college gathering kickoff is like literally on campus every day. We have bracelets, we have shirts, we have wristbands. We are like going to campus. Does that make sense? Pushing everyone to CG kickoff. That's the top of our leadership funnel if you see it here. Okay, so a weekly event is really easy to invite students to. Okay, a weekly event, everyone's trying churches, lots of people are meeting people, everybody's doing something. Hey, they got this thing at this church, a couple miles down the road, there's food, you want to come. Okay? All of your outreach is not just outreach for outreach's sake. It's pointed to a part of the pipeline, which is the funnel, which is the big sort of like, almost like top of the funnel, if you will. So college gathering kickoff, and at the end of that night, we do this thing called GC Connect. So all of our GC leaders, we have single gender groups only. If you believe in co-ed groups, I'll fight you. Just kidding. We did it for a long time. But single gender groups, we are doing that now. And so we do this thing where basically all of our leaders leave before the service is over. They get giant posters, and it's Mark and Adam, Wednesdays at 7. Giant QR code that they scan and can immediately be added to their GCs. Get their contact number, get their thing, get everything that they need. We have 30 groups that are literally jumping around, and we're super like manipulative, if you will, where it's like we have these awesome ice cream trucks that everyone wants, and we go, hey, we'll give you a ticket. The only way you can get this ice cream is if you show up a ticket. How do you get a ticket? Join a GC. And so we literally like have them scan a QR code, join the GC, go, okay, here's your deal, and then we get all their contact information. Sometimes it's burner numbers. That's fine. We'll take that. We'll live with that. And then they go and get their ice cream, and they just hang out for like 2 hours after service. Okay, so again, is that, oh wow, that's crazy. No, it's actually moving them from the top of the funnel down a little bit more into GCs. Does that make sense? So if you see here this funnel, college gathering, you've got committed to Redeemer. I would put that pretty close to like gospel communities. Like if you start coming to a weekly service and to a small group, you're pretty committed. Like you're pretty interested in that church. And so, okay, outreach events. So that's sort of like, let's call that outreach sort of at the beginning of the year. This is I'll explain this at the end. But outreach at the beginning of the semester, about midway through the semester, into the semester, we have our leadership recruitment season where it's like all over Instagram for 3 weeks. It's everywhere. Apply for leadership. And think about that as getting students to serve in your ministry. Getting students to serve in your ministry. Creating a really, easy opportunity for them to serve. We already kind of talked about that. Then we have our retention and evaluation season. Keeping students in our ministry. Keeping students in our ministry. Caring for them. Ask them how they're doing. So that's through leader parties, end of semester reviews, all that different stuff. And then we have sending out of our ministry. We don't have time. I'll keep going. We don't have time. So Ricky here, he was met on campus. First week, he was in a terrible dorm, and we met him, and he made friends, and he got connected. Just kind of floated around for the first year. Now Ricky applied for leadership at the end of his freshman year. Ricky then served as a context leader for a year, and then Ricky, starting his junior year, is now serving as a GC leader. Okay, Ricky's now a GC leader. Ricky came up to me at the end of our last service and said, "Hey, dude, I think I want to learn more about church planning." Interesting. Where would that come from? Well, it's at the end of our pipeline. That's where it came from. And so now Ricky likely is discerning a call to ministry, and so his senior year will be spent doing what? Senior team. Does that make sense? And then if senior team goes well and he comes and, says, "Hey, I want to go on the next church plant," hypothetically, he's going to go and do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the pipeline working in sort of sync, where we get you freshmen and you're not just like, "Dude, so glad you're here." It's like, "Great, so glad you're here," but also like, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" Does that make sense? Pause. Any questions? Do you have a question?
Yeah, first one. How many students are coming in, like Ricky, as believers already, and how many are not yet believers and trying to get in the pipeline and then come to faith?
So the pipeline begins, like the leadership pipeline begins, like you have to be a Christian to serve on our leadership team, if that's not clear. We have so many students that come to faith, like in service, in GCs, in discipleship groups. Sam, we know Sam led the student to faith at a coffee shop. Like we say this all the time. We are so uninterested in moving the Christians around in our city. So uninterested. We could not care less if you go here or you go there. We just want you to go somewhere. Why? Because there are 40,000 college students a mile and a half down the road. Plenty for everybody. So for us, if we're going to be about one thing, we're going to be about moving towards lost people. Does that make sense? And so a lot of times, like we have the student Emilio who's leading a GC as a senior. Dude was like on freaking steroids doing freaking coke, like no joke, like two and a half years ago. Comes to faith miraculously, gets saved. God changes his life in the midst of our ministry, and now is leading a Bible study with the same dudes that he met in the party scene at Tech. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like that's like what we're after. We're not after like, "Oh, you're going to sit and talk about theology for 5 hours." You can do that on your own time. But there's like there's real lostness down the street, and we want to be about those things. Does that make sense? So I don't know if that answered the question. Sorry, I get passionate about that.
Students are being sent out in the church planning pipeline, or even go overseas. How many of them are coming from like the senior team versus outside of that versus just being different leaders? Are like, "Hey, the people that we're really investing in, those are the 10 that are going to go do this."
No, all 10 are for sure doing something like that, and many more are doing. Everybody, like all of our seniors are doing something. Like they're going to do one of those three. But if you're talking missions or church planning, a lot of people, other people are doing it, specifically in the missions world, because they have their own pipeline and department. So,
do you have a curriculum for your senior team?
Nope. We read a book. It kind of depends on who's leading it that year, and then they just literally follow us around. Like they just tag along, do stuff, serve. We take them to conferences all over the country. Like they have to raise about $2,000 of support to be on senior team, and so we use that to just expose them to every ministry context imaginable to help them discern. So,
I have a question.
Yes.
What does it look like for college students to be involved in the rest of your church? Are most college students serving directly in your college ministry? Our
college leadership team serves in other places. We're like the tail that wags the dog, if that makes sense. Like the way that, and it's really healthy because our church leadership talks about college. Like when the college boat rises, all of our other boats rise. And so for us, it's like, we encourage you not to just like go on a Sunday, but like serve in a kids class. And so all of our leaders like serve in that way. Yep.
In that, do y'all have like a college Sunday service, or is it not service, but gatherings?
We intentionally don't meet on Sundays because we want to in no way compete with Sundays. Because we tell our students, if you're going to come to one, come on Sunday, don't come on Tuesday. Because that's going to train those like lifelong muscles way more than a Tuesday night service. As much as I want them there. Okay, we have 10 minutes. I want you guys to think about your own leadership pipeline. You can have a blank one. You can just draw one. It can be rudimentary. Add your ending vision in line. Create your own Redeemer Ricky, if you will. And then apply, copy, paste your positions to it. So if you have a position, where does that fit? Do you like, let's say you have a group position. You're like, only seniors can lead that. Is that written down? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that stuff like in writing? And so then it's like, yeah, write it down and put it like in the pipeline. And then if you realize through writing it down that you only have things for seniors, like maybe consider something for sophomores. You know what I'm saying? And so things like that. And so, write your positions down, then events. Think about that. How do you get your students to your ministry? How do you get them in your ministry? How do you keep them in your ministry? Then how do you send them out? So that's to, in, keeping, and out. Because again, it can't just end here with a really great college experience. It's got to be giving them vision for their whole life. So that was a lot. We have 9 minutes to sort of sit and talk and ask questions. But I really hope this is helpful. Like, if you have a strong trellis like this, guys, the work that we get to, so as a college director, the work that I get to do because these systems are in place is I get to write sermons, which is sometimes fun, sometimes not, and I get to meet with new students because I'm not busting my butt trying to develop all of these things and keep all these things and structure in place. I get to be with the students, you know what I'm saying? And so it's almost like a systems quarterback, if you will. If you have a system, you just kind of plug and play. Like, it could be me being college director, it could be somebody else. It doesn't matter because these things, somebody before has done the hard work of setting us up for success. Does that make sense? That's what I was trying to communicate to Tate in that coffee shop, that things like this, they're worth it, even though they're really hard. Okay. You gotta go? I gotta go. You gotta go, bro. I was just freeing you from that, bro. Yeah. Okay, so y'all can talk amongst your teams. Think about that. This is not, don't diminish.
Like for a small church to be able to do something like this.
I think you could do something like it. I think that maybe your leadership team isn't 100, maybe it's 5.
Okay.
And your ratio is still the same. You know what I'm saying? Whereas it's like, okay, you got 30 students, if you got 30 students coming to your deal, you need, students do the work of ministry way more effectively than we can. And so we have to empower them to do it. And I think a leadership team is a great way to empower them. Does that make sense? Okay.
How do you balance focusing on your lead team members and reaching the lost at the same time?
What do you mean, lead team members? You mean like leadership team?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we put a lot of trust in our grow group relationships. And so we have like adults in our church that just serve and lead these discipleship groups. We tell them hey, if things are going bad, we need to know, or we're going to just assume they're going well. Does that make sense? And so we trust, I would say 80% of our leadership team, because our staff leads some of these grow groups, but not all of them. We couldn't. We have a staff of 7. It's like, that would be all we're doing, is be doing discipleship groups, and that would not be awesome. But so we put a lot of trust in those, and then we just communicate with our leaders hey, we are about a few things. We're about praying, we're about going to campus. And so it's not about me dragging them to campus, it's about us creating opportunities for them to go to talk to people, and then I've got to be out there. That's the leadership thing for all y'all. If you have high hopes for your students going to where lost people are and you're not doing it, they're just probably not going to do it without you, at least at first. So you've got to go first. No, you're good.
Are discipling them? Are those people just part of your church?
Yep. Moms and dads.
Train them or anything?
Yep. In the summer.
Okay.
Yep.
How do you leverage them?
Leverage them?
Yeah, the adults. How do you get them to buy into what you're doing?
Sit them down. Well, it's a unique gift in that many of them are adults that come from our ministry. So they've graduated, they've stayed in Lubbock, they've stayed at our church, and they're like, oh, I remember when so-and-so met up with me at this coffee shop that no longer exists. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have that then.
Exactly. And so a lot of it is almost appealing to why. So practically, we do an interest form. hey, we be really clear. If you're an adult and you care about reaching college students, fill out this form. We'll talk to you. And so in that interest form, we have a PDF that's attached. And we have 2 positions for our adults to serve: grow group leader, which is what we've talked about, and then a host home, which kind of mentioned that's where the groups meet. Really, really brief explanation of both. If you want to serve in this way, fill out this form. Push it out, announce it wherever we can announce it. Get people who are already serving to send it to their friends, because that's the best avenue, you know what I'm saying, of almost organically spreading of hey, you love Jesus, you're already doing this. Where are your friends at? Where they at? You know what I mean? Literally that same kind of, I'll go up to our adults. I was hey, I know y'all are in an awesome gospel community. We need students to serve, we need people to serve, and I know you have great friends. So just going for it. You know what I'm saying? So that's hard when it doesn't sort of naturally exist. You just gotta go get them. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Is it? Are a lot of the students who aren't leaders being intentionally discipled by the people who are leaders, or is there people who aren't being discipled?
They are.
Okay.
They are.
Is that in writing from an education point? Hey, you will disciple. Is that the 3 you're talking about?
Yeah. Who's your 3? Yep. Yep.
For your leaders throughout this semester, doing kind of equipping. Month basis.
We used to do once a week, and then we just burnt them out. And honestly, we're not that good of teachers, so it's we don't need to be doing more things once a month. And then we did it once a week. Now we do it once a month. Still feels like too much sometimes, because our students in our context are just busy. They're just busy. And so what we do now is we do one. So we have this thing at the very, 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 very beginning of the semester called DNA Day, an entire day where we have so much fun and we pour into them with everything they need to know to be successful in the semester. Besides that, we have 2 leader trainings, one typically in September and then one in November, where it's just some sort of topic that we're talking about or some sort of thing that we feel like we need to talk to them. And then in the middle of the semester, we have a leader party. We basically find the biggest house at our church and we just go and party, literally just hang out, not party in the traditional sense, but there's this gajillionaire at our church that has 2 pickleball courts, one's indoor, giant pool, diving rock, 2 acres. We just go. Yeah, mid-semester. We just want this to be fun. Fall and spring. We literally had one of our leaders come up to us at the fall that was in tears. He was a dude. In tears, said all he did the entire time was play water basketball with his friends. In tears, he goes, I had no idea how much I needed to just have fun.
Yeah.
So it's okay, we're going to do a leader training to talk about some theological nuance. You know what I'm saying? I'm I don't even want to do that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to go play pickleball. So, yeah.
What do you think this looks like effectively in a 1 to 2 year context with college students, community colleges, stuff like that?
Yeah, that's not our context, so I'm not going to pretend to act like it is, But I think you can cut some things out, keep the main things, what are the bedrocks of what you're trying to do, and or really what are you trying to do, if most of your student contacts are going to do certain things, it's well, how can you then partner with them, but to give them almost redeem that whatever they plan to do, you know what I'm saying? And so then it's well, what are the bedrocks of what you're trying to get them to see, believe, and then what are you doing to enact that, you know what I'm saying? All right, 2 minutes. Anybody who's working on a pipeline have any questions? If you want to go, you can totally go. You're not trapped in here. But I'll be in here till the next one. So if you want to stay and ask questions, you can totally do that, but no pressure.
What are some other fun things that keep kids coming?
Keep kids coming to our Tuesday gathering?
Yeah.
That was hard. We don't do a lot of fun stuff.
Do we food every week?
No. We tried it. We had food. Less students came, which is praise God from a budget perspective, But yeah, we tried it. There's another ministry in town that's huge, and they do food, and it felt like a culture thing when we brought food. They're we don't do that. We come because we go get the students. We don't come because we're trying to do a circus. And I was literally one of our students pretty much said that. And I was oh wow, you're really you believe that, and so long story short, we don't have food, we don't do much fun, we have really consistent show up we have found that when we do different things, less students show up. So if we rebrand a end of year something as a worship night, less students come. It may be incredible, but even the sheer changing it, students just love stability. They love showing up knowing exactly what they're going to get. And when you do something different, a lot of times they just like that. They're looking for reasons to not come. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Even if it's great, even if the Lord wants to meet them in their life, they're saying, I don't want to do that. So answer, we don't do a lot of fun stuff, but sometimes we'll rent out pickleball courts. Our students are like one-dimensional, and they just love pickleball, so we go play pickleball. Yeah. But all that stuff is like extra. So typically if we do anything extra, like on top of these sort of normal gatherings, we want it to be super fun. Like we want it to be, again, refreshment, a gift, a blessing to them. And so luckily our church is right across the street from like a pickleball complex, and they give it to us super cheap. So shout out God. He knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Just what a gift.
Is there a lot of summer for you guys getting those like adult leaders?
Yep.
How else do you kind of like think about the pipeline and formulate, or like during the summertime?
It's like patch holes. It's like patch holes and get adults to partner. Yeah, pretty much.
No Tuesday night in summer.
We have them. We're doing them basically once a month. So at the beginning of June, beginning of July, everything we're doing this summer is Tuesday at 7. So it's a rotating sort of schedule of summer college gathering, summer GC, summer hang. So at that giant house, we're going there literally every month. We're like just going to go party there. And then summer GC, beginning of July, summer college gathering. And then it just rotates. But it's just one thing. Tuesday at 7, there's something that we got going on. Again, to keep it simple.
Last year, for example, what were some things that you feel like you patched up or tried to fix to make it more healthy for this year? Yeah.
Well, let me just say it's 4:01. If you need to leave, feel the freedom to leave. Your question was what? Say it again.
Just last year, for example, what were some things you patched up to improve and make more healthy this year?
So like last summer? So last summer we were at Roundup. Maybe I'll keep it on. Last summer we were actually at Roundup, and we had a credible leadership team, but our ratio was like a 1 to 2.5. So for us, we felt like we had everything we needed. We literally drew like the state of your ministry or whatever. And we literally said we were sunbathing on a gold mine, which is hilarious. It's kind of like a thing that we say now. And so for us, we were like, we have everything we need to like crush it, honestly. We're just not doing it. And so then it was about focusing in on, let's pray. Like that's where this was birthed from, was Roundup. 320, do far more, because we're like, we have everything we need, you know. The church that's bought in, we have not that much resources. We have enough, you know, to do what we feel like we could do. And so let's just ask that God would do it, and then we'll be about it this year. And God really honored that. So, yep. All right, guys. Thank y'all.